Alrighty guys, what is up? Welcome back to a new series with Lone Debater 7, so maybe not welcome back, but today we are going to be taking a look at Hades, and more specifically I want to show you off some builds that can clear level 8 heat in Hades, because if you're like me, you probably have done quite a few escape attempts, and maybe you had some difficulty, maybe you didn't, but either way, once you get to 8 heat, or in excess of 8 heat, it sometimes becomes a little bit crazy as far as what you should be aiming to build out in order to clear the map and still win and all that noise. If you're still on your way up to 8 heat, that's totally fine. You should be able to use any of these builds that I'm going to show off in this series to clear any lower levels of heat, because I've been able to do it, and I am in no sense a pro when it comes to this game. I'll be the first to admit that. I would say that I'm reasonably good at it, but also, yeah, I don't have the crazy, like, dash, avoid everything type skills that some of the people that record this game have. Anyway, so what I want to talk about today is we're going to start off with the Adamant rail. So I've got the Adamant rail, and I've got the aspect of Eris selected for it. So I have mine maxed out. I forget how much Titan Bloods it costs, but it costs a few. It's either 12 or 16 Titan Bloods to max this out all the way. You don't have to have it fully maxed out. In fact, if you're playing the build right, this probably won't affect you all that much. But mine is maxed out just so, you know, if you're trying to mirror everything exactly, max out your aspect of Eris on the Adamant rail. Go over to your collection over here, your keepsakes, and we're going to pick the Thunder Signet. And I did unlock the Megara Companion Charm. We're not actually going to use it. Well, we don't have to use it with this build. Like, I was able to beat Hades at Heat 8 without this. I actually unlocked this after I cleared Heat 8. So, no worries there. If you don't have that unlocked yet, you'll be fine. If you do, it will definitely help you get through. So what we're going to do for our Heat, I am going to have heightened security, middle management, benefits package, or well, actually, I might take off benefits package if I'm honest, because what I did when I first cleared Heat 8 was have 2 on damage control. Basically, damage control, all foes have 2 shields, so you have to hit them twice before you can actually damage them, whereas benefits package, armored foes have more perks. So you know what, we're going to do it with benefits package because it's a little bit easier to deal with in the 2 shots before you damage. Obviously you can, you know, get to 8 heat however you want, it doesn't necessarily matter. But I also have calisthenics program, so all foes have more health. Middle management just means each mini boss has an extra armored foe. I've got jury summon, so there's 20% more enemies in each encounter, and hard labor, so foes deal 20% extra damage. So there's our Heat 8 layout. Just in case you want to try using those, you should be able to do this with this build. So you go in, ignore this part from Hades calling us vermin or whatever. That doesn't matter. Basically what we're going to try to do with this build is we're going to get Zeus on our attack. We're going to get Poseidon on our special and dash, and then everything else is kind of just whatever you happen to roll. So we got the Zeus boon in the first room, that's fine. We did roll the attack, so attack emits chain lightning. So this is really good for you on the Adamant rail, because basically the lightning will act as if you have an extra bounce for each of your shots that you fire or what have you. So that's actually really good. I am going to take a roll on this room and just see. So we got darkness instead. I'd rather take a key because I've got a perk that gives me another reroll when we get a key. So we're going to go for that. Basically the way the aspect of Eris works, if you're unfamiliar, if you shoot your special with the Adamant rail like this and you're inside the blast zone, you'll do increased damage. So that just gave us 75% more damage on everything basically. So you do, if you are running aspect of Eris, you do want to try to stand inside of your special like that so you get the damage bonus. Anyway, so we could go for the palm here. What I am trying to get is actually a hammer, because for this build to be viable, you want to get 2 hammers throughout your run, and there's kind of two ways you can build it. Once we actually get a hammer, we'll take a look. But if you roll a palm door, you have a shot at getting a hammer. We got a heart instead. That's okay. Getting life is fine. I'm not necessarily too worried about losing the palm because upgrading our our attack at this point doesn't necessarily do all that much for us. Like, it'll go from 13 damage to maybe like 14. So not that big of a scale, in all honesty. So I was willing to roll that palm to hopefully get a hammer. We didn't, so that's fine. Getting the life is good too. We'll go in through the nectar because I've got one that increases the level up. And when I cleared Heat 8, I didn't have all these extra bonuses. I did have the reroll on keys or whatever, but I didn't have the nectar stuff. So no worries. If you don't have all these bonuses, you still should be able to clear it on Heat 8 following this build. Just bear that in mind. I might play the run a little bit different than you just based off of what I have available. So there we go. We ended up getting our attack upgraded anyway with that. So that's good. So there's an Athena or there's a hammer. We're going to go for the hammer. You can do the Chaos Gate. I'm not going to roll it on this one just because it doesn't feel like I want to, in all honesty. So there we go. We've got our Aspect of Errors procced. And kind of what I do as far as the attack chaining goes, launch a special, proc your aspect, shoot out the full clip, dash away, and you can launch another special there if you want. It's up to you. But while you launch your special or dash, your Adamant rail will reload. So before you dash or anything, try to shoot out the entire clip, and then you won't have to worry about pushing the reload key. So here we go. We got our first, our first hammer. So we didn't get lucky and roll the boon that we want. So the ones you're looking for if you want a really easy time is Rocket Bomb and Cluster Bomb, I think is what it's called, is the second one. So basically, if you get both those hammers, you'll shoot 5 rockets with your special, which is really powerful. We didn't roll that, so this is going to end up being the attack one. So we're going to go for Flurry Fire. So your attack's faster and more accurate. You also gain 6 ammo, so that just means that you're going to be doing more damage when you use your main attack. That works very well with Zeus, just in general, so should be fine, all things considered. But as you can see, like, we clear a lot quicker now because in addition to getting that hammer, it boosting our attack speed and everything, we also ended up getting a power-up on our Zeus attacks. So, like, those two things together make the Adamant rail really powerful. So, like, you can almost kill the bigger enemies with one clip, which feels pretty good. So I'm not going to mess around with that. So this is an Ares boon. Ares isn't really that great for this build, so I'm going to roll this and see what we get instead. Aphrodite actually is really good for this build. And I'm just going to check. I don't think I've gifted her a nectar yet, so I might do that at the same time. So when you fight this guy, he spawns in like one of the little hand dudes or whatever to come help him. So if you kill it, he'll spawn another one. No worries though. Pretty easy fight, all things considered, with the Adamant rail because you can hit him when he ports in. So here we go. Oh, I forgot to do that, but that's fine. So what we're going to do on this is we're going to put it on our special. So now we inflict weak with our special. Weakness basically will give you the ability, it reduces the amount of damage that the enemies affected by it do. So I'm not really concerned about that aspect of it. I'm more concerned because Aphrodite's special bonus is a percentage scaler. So what that means is, as opposed to just doing flat damage, so like our attack is a flat damage increase of, let's just show you. So if you look at Lightning Strike, we do 17 lightning damage, right? That is a flat damage increase to our base attack. Whereas this one, Heartbreak Flourish, does plus 148% special damage. So that percentage multiplier is really good for scaling late game. So when you're looking for something to put on your special with this kind of build, if you're going Rocket Bomb, you want to have something with a percentage multiplier. Poseidon is the best for that, hands down. But we ended up getting Aphrodite early, so we're just going to stick with that. We probably aren't even going to be able to do Rocket Bomb at this point unless in Kiss of Styx, or the Temple of Styx, we get really lucky and end up getting an Anvil and Rolly the right perks, so no worries. I am gonna upgrade our special just because it makes more sense, and we're gonna hit the shop. So basically, when you're getting the hammers on your attack, like, the best one by far is the hammer that turns it into like a battle rifle, so you can do three shots in succession, but you never have to reload. That is the best one with Zoo's attack on the Adamant Rail. Hands down, best hammer. I forget what it's called, but that's the one you want. As far as the next boon, we are going to get Storm Lightning. This +4 bounces just means that our attack will bounce between more foes every time we shoot it, so that's actually really good. And we actually are going to palm that up to +6, so that feels pretty good, all things considered. We should be able to do a fair amount of damage, so it's really good, especially when foes are like clumped up and everything. So with the boon that we just picked up, if we have 6 foes all together, it will bounce between all 6 of them and do the lightning damage, as opposed to just damaging 1 person or 4 people, whatever. So like right there, it started bouncing between all 3 of those guys, right? So that is our Zeus boon we just picked up, and I'm not doing a good job at dodging here. That is my bad, but whatever. There we go. All right, room cleared. Cool, we get some money. That's fine. If I had a reroll, I'd reroll this heart, but I don't. So we will go fish real quick. Anyway, so this build isn't really developing the way that I want, unfortunately. I probably still can clear Heat 8 with it. It's just not super OP, unfortunately. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and finish this one off and just see how far we make it. But I do want to show off the rocket bomb combo, and maybe what I'll do is, after we run this a little bit more, I mean, we got unlucky on our hammer roll, which does happen, so you aren't going to get the OP build every single time you run Adamant Rail, unfortunately, but it is still playable. Even if you don't get the OP build or whatever, you still can use it to clear relatively high heat levels fairly easily, because all of the hammer bonuses on the Adamant Rail are pretty good, all things considered. Like, the one we picked up that gave us the extra 6 and increased attack damage is not bad. It's not the best one in the world, all things considered, but it isn't the worst. So there's that. I think we are going to go for another Zeus and just see what we get. So we got Jolted. That's really good. So when we take Poseidon in Act 2, we can get Sea Storm potentially rolled, and it'll do Jolted damage as well. But anyway, so let me do this. I think we're just going to nope out on this run, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut over to like a spreadsheet type thing, just to show you what boons you should be looking for, and everything like that. And it's more specifically hammers. It's less about the boons. Basically, the way the boons work, you want Zeus on your attack, you want to get some sort of percent multiplier on your special every single time with the Adamant Rail. I normally try to go for Poseidon on special and dash if I can do it. Sometimes you're not able to get both just because of the number of boons you're offered. So if you have to pick between putting Poseidon on your special or your dash, put it on your dash unless you have Rocket Bomb. Then put it on your special, because when you have Rocket Bomb, it's a lot easier to use your special to do damage, and big damage as well. So let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and set up a quick little spreadsheet, and we'll cut to that, and I'll show you what boons you should be looking for, as well as what hammers you should be prioritizing when you're running the Adamant Rail if you want to clear heat level 8. So give me about 2 minutes and we will be back. Alright guys, so we are back. Here is our Hades Adamant Rail slide deck or whatever. Just kind of going over some of the stuff we talked about when I was playing in that last game. So this is Hades Adamant Rail build guides for heat level 8. They're tested by me. I've been able to clear heat 8 and most of heat 9 with these builds. So if you're looking for something to use to clear heat 8, this is definitely viable. So first things first, keepsakes. What you're going to be looking for as far as your keepsakes go for Act 1, you definitely want to take Zeus every single time, because when you get Zeus's keepsake in Act 1, you have a really good chance of getting the attack boon in the first room or the second room, as well as the jolted effect and the chain lightning effect. We'll talk about what actual boons to look for. So Act 1 keepsake is going to be Zeus. Act 2 and 3 you're going to be rolling Poseidon, and Act 4 you have your choice between Poseidon and Lucky Tooth. What I would suggest on trying to make that call, if you feel that you're going to need an extra life to beat Hades, then take Lucky Tooth for Act 4. If not, definitely take Poseidon Act 4, because you might get lucky and be able to pick up another 2 Poseidon boons, so you might be able to get the duo boon with Zeus and Poseidon at that point, or you might be able to get better Rupture, or it's just better to take Poseidon Act 4 if you think you can manage the Hades fight without an extra life. Alright, so that's the keepsakes out of the way, pretty straightforward. Now these are going to be your priority boons. So on the Zeus side, you want to get Lightning Strike, which is going to be the attack modifier. It'll give you some amount of base lightning damage to your main attack. You also want Storm Lightning. What Storm Lightning will do is every attack that you fire, it has lightning effects chain onto multiple enemies. I believe the base is +4. So basically, if you get Lightning Strike and Storm Lightning from Zeus, you will have lightning damage on your attack, and it will automatically chain to multiple enemies when you're using your main attack. And then the third one from Zeus that would be somewhat a priority is Static Discharge. What that boon will do for you is add a level of jolted effect to all of your lightning damage. Now the reason why you want to go for Static Discharge is kind of twofold. First off, if you have Zeus and lightning damage on your main attack, adding Jolted is a great way to kind of scale your attack damage into the later acts. And second, if you end up getting the Zeus Poseidon Duo Sea Storm, any knockback effects that you have would also apply the Jolted in that case. So that's kind of why you want to get Static Discharge if you can manage it. So 3 Zeus boons, more or less, that you're kind of looking to pick up in Act 1 if you can do it. It does depend on luck and stuff like that. If you have to pick some over the other, definitely ensure you get Zeus Lightning Strike, and Static Discharge is a little bit higher priority than Storm Lightning, I would say, just because you can, depending on what hammers you get, because that does matter a little bit, you can manage without the extra bounce on your lightning effects. Whereas having the jolted effect would be better for you. Anyway, let's keep going with the priority boons. These are going to be, you're most likely going to be picking these up in Act 2 or in 3. If you get lucky and roll a Poseidon boon in Act 1, good for you. Either take Tempest Flourish, which is the special boon from Poseidon, so it'll modify your special attack, or take Tidal Dash, which is Poseidon's dash. A lot of people call it the Splash Dash because you make waves and all that noise. So those two are kind of a must. Third on that is Razor Shoals. What Razor Shoals will do is any knockback effect that you apply to enemies will inflict a specific amount of damage anytime they move. So I believe the base for that is 10 damage. So every time they move, they take 10 damage a second if you hit them with a knockback effect, so either your special or your dash. So that is really good, especially when you're clearing out Act 3. So try to pick up Razor Shoals if you get lucky and roll it in one of your Poseidon boons. Finally, if you do end up getting Poseidon on your special and your dash and Zeus on your attack, you definitely want to try to get the Zeus Poseidon Duo Sea Storm. Basically what Sea Storm does is any knockback effects will also proc your lightning effects. So let's say we have Sea Storm, we have Poseidon's Tidal Dash, and we have Static Discharge and Lightning Strike from Zeus, whatever. So anytime you use your Tidal Dash and knock back an enemy, they will have Jolted effect proccing on them as well, in addition to the base lightning damage that you have on your attack, and whatever the base damage you roll in the Sea Storm boon itself. I think it tends to be around 40 damage, something like that. But Sea Storm is really strong with this build if you've got Tidal Dash. Okay, so there's that. Next, we've got our secondary boon. So if you can't roll all of the primary boons, that's okay. You don't always get super lucky each run, so that's fine. You can also go for Aphrodite's Heartbreak Flourish on your special. You can do the Demeter Frost Flourish on your special, Dionysus Drunken Flourish on your special. So it's most like if you get a Poseidon boon and you have the choice between the special and the dash, and you don't have any hammers yet for your special, take the dash and just, you know, assume that you're probably not going to get the Poseidon special as well, and go for an Aphrodite, Demeter, or Dionysus. It still will scale your special attack strong enough, enough that it's going to be really good if you do end up getting the hammers later on in your run. And if you don't get them later on in your run, that's okay too. It will make your special a lot stronger. And then finally is Athena Divine Dash. So this would be in the flip scenario. So like, let's say you get a Poseidon boon and it doesn't have the dash, but it has the special. So you take the special. You can get the Divine Dash from Athena to kind of make up for not having the title dash. It won't scale as well as far as your damage output goes, but Divine Dash is great because you can deflect projectiles while you're dashing, so it basically makes you impervious while you're dashing. So that's a more or less a defensive boon, whereas the Poseidon one is more of an attack or offensive boon. So Athena's dash is definitely a viable choice as well for clearing Heat 8. So next, let's talk about the hammers, because this is kind of what makes the Adamant rail so good. You have a lot of options as far as this is concerned. So the optimal Adamant rail build is going to be special dependent. So that would be Rocket Bomb. Oh, what just happened? There we go. All right, that would be Rocket Bomb, Cluster Bomb, and Triple Bomb. If you get all three of those hammers, like, your special is going to do so much damage, it's insane. You won't even use your main attack anymore, I swear. Like, at least I never do. Maybe just while I'm reloading on the special or something. So what these do, Rocket Bomb will turn the special for the Adamant rail into a base 80 damage rocket projectile. So as opposed to having to wait for it to come down and like it takes a while for it to hit, it just shoots a projectile in front of you. If it hits them, it'll do 80 base damage. So Rocket Bomb is the first one you want to get if you're going special dependent. Next is going to be Cluster Bomb. What that does is it changes your special from firing only one projectile to 5. So if you have Rocket Bomb and Cluster Bomb together, you will shoot 5 rockets, each doing a base of 80 damage at the same time. So if you scale that with a Poseidon boon on your special, you'll have knockback on all 5 of those rockets, plus it'll deal a lot of damage because you get a percentage modifier. Or even if you just take a special with a percentage modifier, having those two, you're going to be hitting for like 700-800. I think the highest I ever got when I got really lucky and rolled all the right boons and everything, I did like a 1500 damage hit from one special attack. So that's what this kind of build can scale into. The last one on special dependent, so after you got Rocket Bomb and Cluster Bomb, you can consider getting Triple Bomb if you roll another hammer before you fight Hades. And what Triple Bomb does is it allows you to fire 3 special attacks in rapid succession. So if you have all 3, you can shoot 15 rockets at one time, is basically how this works. So it becomes really powerful. Basically, Hades is an easy fight because you chunk out like a third of his health every time you use your special, or some ridiculous amount like that. So let's say you didn't get lucky and didn't roll one of these special dependent hammers on your first one. So you didn't get Rocket Bomb, Cluster Bomb, and just ignore, like if you have Triple Bomb, don't try to go for special dependent. You probably won't get what you need in order to make that viable. If you get Cluster Bomb or Rocket Bomb, you should take that with your hammer because you're likely to get the second one at some point during your run, especially if you have rerolls and you use them properly. So that's worth doing, but Triple Bomb, it's not worth trying to go for special dependent. So let's say we didn't get any of these on our first hammer, but we did get some of the attack dependent ones. So what that is going to tell you is, for this build, you're not going to be relying on your special all that much. Instead, you're going to be relying upon your attack. So in order of kind of the best ones, Delta Chamber is the best by far for your attack hammers. What it will do for you is it converts your Adamant Rail's main attack from being a 12 clip, single fire, to a 3 fire, like it has infinite ammo, so you don't have to reload. And it will change it into like a battle rifle type style. So you'll shoot 3 shots at a time, and and then it automatically reloads for you. It's really strong with the Zeus attack boon. So even if you don't get special dependent hammers, but you get Delta Chamber, you still should be able to clear Heat 8 pretty easily with the Adamant Rail. Second would be Flurry Fire. That adds 6 extra ammo and makes your attack shoot faster, so this one's pretty good too. You should be able to shoot through most enemies pretty quickly with that, even without reloading. Ricochet Fire is not bad. Basically, it adds 1 extra bounce for each shot that you fire out of the rail, so like let's say there's 5 enemies grouped up and you're only shooting at 1, Ricochet Fire will take each of those shots and bounce it to 1 other enemy, so you'd be hitting at least 2 just off of the hammer effect. If you have Zeus as well, you might be doing more than that, but anyway, that's what Ricochet Fire does. And then Seeking Fire, this makes your dash strike a little bit more viable with this weapon, because what it will do is your attacks do 10% more damage and they automatically target foes. So what that does for you is while you're dashing around dodging all your enemy attacks, you can just hold down your main attack button. Mine's on left mouse, so you hold down left mouse while you're dashing, and you're still hitting everything and you don't have to worry about aiming anymore. So Seeking Fire can be good because of that. So that's pretty much what you should be looking for if you're running Adamant Rail at 8 heat plus. I have found like special dependent hammers are way better than the attack dependent hammers. Like it's way easier if you get rocket bomb and cluster bomb, and even if you only get 1. So like let's say you roll a hammer and you have the choice between rocket bomb and cluster bomb, take rocket bomb. It's way better for you. Then your special becomes more viable to use because you don't have to like time it based off of enemies' locations. You can just shoot it as if it was another bullet out of the main attack, right? So rocket bomb's definitely the best special dependent hammer. Delta Chamber's definitely the best attack dependent hammer. So the benefit of using the Adamant Rail, I guess let's talk about that for a minute. The reason why the Adamant Rail is good when you start running high heat is because there are so many options as far as hammers are concerned that even if you don't get lucky on your roll, you will probably roll at least one of these. So maybe you don't get rocket or cluster bomb offered on your first hammer. You'll probably have Flurry Fire, Delta Chamber, or Seeking Fire instead. So you just kind of change how you're going to build your build. So if you end up going attack dependent, you're going to be focusing more on movement abilities and scaling your attack damage. Whereas if you go special dependent, you're going to be focused on building up your special damage because it's just insane. But anyway, guys, that is my little guide about how to clear Heat 8 with the Adamant Rail and some various builds you can try out. At some point, if I end up screen capturing a game where I'm playing and I get the rocket bomb with cluster bomb layout that I like, I'll be sure to capture it and try to upload it so you can kind of see what that damage looks like. But all these builds that I've shared with you today have been tested. They do work at Heat 8. So there you go. That's my first Hades video, kind of telling you what you can do to clear Heat 8 with the Adamant Rail. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like, comment, subscribe as always. And until next time, this has been Lone Debater 7, and we will see ya.